This is part 2, episode 103. Today, however, this manner of yours is useless. Xiao Yan's calm manner caused Feng Qing's eyebrows to become vertical, as she coldly laughed. She did not like this person, who was of the same generation as her, revealing such a dislikable manner in front of her. Xiao Yan raised his eyes and glanced at Feng Qing. Suddenly, he parted his lips and smiled. He said, "It is unexpected that you are such a noisy woman. Since this is the case, I will also tell you the truth. If you do not have the Wind Lightning Pavilion, or any other background, being the exclusive domain of another man might be your best choice with your appearance." A chill slowly surged on Feng Qing's extremely beautiful face. Her pretty eyes coldly glared at Xiao Yan as a majestic aura that was not inferior to him blasted forth with the sound of rumbling thunder like an erupting volcano. Wind Lightning Do Qi. Xiao Yan's eyes involuntarily narrowed as he studied the flickering lightning glow and the dense wind affinity Do Qi. This Feng Qing's training talent was indeed somewhat frightening to be able to perfectly merge these two completely different Do Qis. The agility of wind and the violent force of lightning. These two different affinities were perfectly merged, and the strength that erupted from them was naturally far from what ordinary Do Qi could compare with. No wonder this Feng Qing possessed the special ability to challenge across classes. This was similar to Xiao Yan's Do Qi, which was mixed with the existence of a heavenly flame, allowing the Do Qi strength to be incredible. This was also the trump card of Xiao Yan when he fought with opponents whose strength exceeded him. The current flame mantra was DI class low level. However, by relying on the mysteriousness of the flame mantra, it was comparable to a DI class middle level Qi method. In terms of Qi methods, Xiao Yan did not gain advantage over Feng Qing. After all, with the support of the Wind Lightning Pavilion and her outstanding talent, the Qi method she practiced would likely be a very high level, and was likely to be much better than that of an ordinary Do zone. In terms of Do techniques, both parties possessed their own ultimate moves. If they did not face each other head-on, it was likely difficult to determine the final victor. While Xiao Yan was weighing both parties' strengths in his heart, a colorful cloth suddenly shot out like an arrow from the enormous rotating storm. A bright lightning glow adhered to it as it penetrated the storm. It rocketed through the sky as it viciously shot toward Xiao Yan's location. The colorful cloth, that carried a lightning glow, was traveling at an extremely frightening speed. Within a flash, it had appeared in front of Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan's hand seal changed because of this colorful cloth that contained a powerful lightning glow. The space in front of him suddenly became distorted. The colorful cloth violently smashed through the distorted space. However, it deviated from its original position and coincidentally flew past Xiao Yan's shoulder, narrowly missing it. The lightning glow on it had caused the hair on Xiao Yan's arm to stand on end when the cloth passed by. A cold snort was emitted from the storm when the colorful cloth was easily dodged by Xiao Yan. The cloth shook and swiftly turned around like a colorful snake that possessed some intelligence. After which, it shot toward Xiao Yan's back. Xiao Yan's toes moved after sensing the rushing wind behind him. His body appeared a couple of dozen meters away. Colorful phoenix domination. The colorful cloth had just been torn apart when a clear cry suddenly sounded. Immediately, one could hear a repeated swoosh swoosh sound as numerous colorful clothes continuously shot out of the storm. After which, they swept toward Xiao Yan from all directions. A solemnness flashed across his eyes as he watched the colorful scene that covered the sky. The heavy ruler in his hand swiftly drew numerous orbits as ruler figures swiftly appeared. Six-joint body flowing ruler. The colorful cloths poured down like rain from all directions, immediately striking the ruler shadows, which were over 10 feet wide. A clear sound continuously resonated around the stadium. The colorful cloth contained an extremely great strength. Although they would be blocked by the dense ruler shadow's defenses each time, its strength still formed numerous cracks on the silver wood ground Xiao Yan was standing on. Both of Xiao Yan's feet were repeatedly shaken until they sank into the silver wood. Creak creak. A countless number of people were stunned as they watched the beautiful scene in the arena. The colorful clothes poured down from the sky like rain, immediately landing on the circular ruler's shadow defense. They brought about waves of clear sounds as they destroyed the silver wood arena until it became more and more miserable. Another colorful cloth violently smashed into the ruler shadow's defenses. The enormous strength in it caused the circular ruler shadow's defenses, along with Xiao Yan, to be smashed heavily into the ground. Looking from the outside, one could only see a 10-foot wide pit. Although Xiao Yan was forced into the ground, Feng Qing'er did not stop attacking. She clearly understood that despite the earlier attack appearing like a violent storm, it did not cause Xiao Yan much harm. The continuous ruler shadow's defenses destroyed over half of the cloth's strength. Screech. A vast, mighty do qi fluctuation was emitted from the rotating storm. Immediately, the countless number of colorful cloths that permeated the sky suddenly entangled together. Within an instant, it formed 100-foot large colorful phoenix in front of everyone's eyes. The colorful phoenix was completely created from cloth. However, the enormous do qi storm suddenly crumbled the moment it was formed. The storm transformed into a 10-foot large do qi pillar that shot into the body of the enormous, colorful phoenix, wind lightning sacrifice. The disintegration of the do qi storm revealed Feng Qing'er's within it. Her finger pointed at the colorful phoenix in the distance, and a drop of fresh blood flew from the finger. Finally, it landed on the body of the colorful phoenix. A life force formed in the colorful phoenix as the drop of fresh blood landed on its body, much to the disbelief of others. The majestic aura that was contained within it also became more wild and violent, wind-killing finger. Feng Qing'er's body was suspended in the sky. Her colorful dress fluttered, causing her to appear as noble and haughty as a female deity. Her finger was pointed at the 10-foot-wide pit below as she let out a cold cry. The colorful phoenix immediately emitted a loud, clear screech when its cry sounded. A majestic, frightening, green-silver light pillar formed in the mouth of the colorful phoenix. It swiftly shrank an instant later, transforming into a light that was only the size of a palm as it shot out with a swoosh sound. Xiao Yang, one finger shall take your life. Feng Qing'er's bone-chilling voice resounded over the sky while the ray of light shot out, causing the expressions of some people to change. Wind-killing finger, one of the deadliest do techniques within the wind lightning pavilion. The jade-green fire lotus slowly bloomed like a delicate lotus. A fluorescent light lingered over it, giving it a soul-stirring beauty. However, under this shocking beauty hid a terrifyingly destructive, wild, violent strength. The ray of light shot over just as the fire lotus was blooming. Immediately, it violently collided with the center of the fire lotus in front of innumerable eyes. Two attacks that contained a frightening energy collided like meteorites at this moment. The collision unexpectedly did not result in a loud noise. The intense light ray and the jade-green light entangled with one another, repeatedly eroding each other. A tiny line spread from the empty air where the two lights collided. The entire stadium was completely quiet. Everyone's eyes were firmly staring at the point of collision of between the fire lotus and the light ray. Although the expected loud sound was absent, some of those with sharp senses could vaguely sense the might of the frightening energy. The fire lotus slowly rotated. Its jade-green glow made it look like a green-colored crystal. Flame lingered all over it. Regardless of how strong the light ray was, it had difficulty breaking through the fire defense. Instead, the ray of light gradually turned dim while these two eroded each other. This face-off continued as the ripple in the air also became more visible. In the end, a wild suction force was emitted from the point of collision, sucking the rock fragments on the ground into the circular light, and shattering them into powder. The ripple continued around 2 minutes, or so before gradually weakening as the light ray dimmed. Finally, it completely disappeared. Even after the light ray disappeared, the jade-green fire lotus continued to rotate at a steady pace. However, its jade-green color had become much dimmer. Clearly, the mutual erosion earlier had exhausted a large amount of the fire lotus's energy. The final victor between the two frightening do skills was the unknown fire lotus. At this moment, numerous exclamations sounded in the stadium. Those seated were extremely familiar with the might of the wind lightning pavilion's wind-killing finger. However, they did not expect that even after it was used with Feng Qing'er, it still ended up being blocked by Xiao Yang's unheard of fire lotus. Feng Zunge's tensed body relaxed in the VIP seats. The spiraling wind on his hand slowly disappeared. His eyes stared at the slowly rotating fire lotus as surprise flashed through them. The wild, violent energy contained within the fire lotus was something that caused him to feel startled. That old fellow does not know this move. Don't tell me that Xiao Yang has learned this do technique from other places. But why is it that even I have never heard of such a powerful do technique? Feng Zunge felt some doubt. He immediately turned his head to look at Lai Zunge, whose face appeared as deep as water. A faint smile involuntarily appeared on Feng Zunge's face. No wonder he has been picked by that stubborn old fellow, who holds such high expectations. Xiao Yang's talent is much greater than Han Feng's. This fellow has received Feng Qing as wind-killing finger, at the edge of the arena, Tang Ying and Mu Qingluan looked at the light ray which had disappeared. Shock appeared in their eyes. They had faced the might of the wind-killing finger before. Naturally, they understood the strength of such Do technique. However, the scene today had caused them to involuntarily sigh in their hearts. This Xiao Yang, who had suddenly appeared, was likely much stronger than them. Feng Qing stood in the empty air. Her graceful body revealed an alluring curve under the cover of the colorful dress. Her eyes were ice-cold as she watched the light ray below disappear. Her heart might have been shaken, but her expression did not reveal it. When the light ray disappeared, the jade-green lotus flame, suspended above the pit, began to rotate faster and faster. It emitted a swoosh sound as it made a beautiful green fire tail, as it swiftly shot toward Feng Qing in the sky. Feng Qing's eyebrows became vertical when she saw the fire lotus came at her. She moved her hand and the enormous, colorful phoenix let out a cry. It appeared above her head in a lightning-like manner. A circular 7-colored light barrier spread out of her body, wrapping her within. Boom. The fire lotus arrived just as the light barrier was formed. Immediately, it was like a bomb as an enormous fire wave exploded against the light barrier. The large explosion was like a beautiful firework as it flew across the sky. Under the attack by the wild, violent energy, a circular ripple swiftly spread over this 7-colored light barrier. Soul-swallowing bloodline. With that cry, a dense red glow suddenly erupted from her palm. It swiftly wrapped around colorful phoenix. Within that strange red glow, the colorful phoenix's body swiftly diminished. Finally, it turned into a dense red glow that was swallowed by Feng Qing's small mouth. Feng Qing's lovely body shook when the red glow entered her body. Immediately, a pair of colorful phoenix wings extended behind her. At the same time, her aura swiftly soared. The soaring aura did not continue for long before it came to a stop. However, Feng Qing had rose from the strength of a 1-star Do zone to a 3-star Dong zone. This kind of crazy increase caused one to be a little stunned just watching it. Xiao Yang's figure also appeared in the arena when Feng Qing's aura was soaring. He knit his brows and glanced at her. Immediately, he let out a cold laugh as the seals formed by his hands swiftly changed. Skyfire 3 mysterious change. A cold cry was emitted within Xiao Yang's heart. Flame surged from his body before swiftly returning to it. His aura also abruptly soared in a similar fashion. However, it came to a stop when he had barely reached the strength of a 3-star Do zone. Xiao Yang felt some astonishment in his heart when he sensed that the Skyfire 3 mysterious change had only enabled him to raise his strength by 2 stars. When he had used it as a Do Huang, it was not difficult to raise his strength by 3 stars, yet it was currently barely able to reach 2 stars. The gap between them each star was really quite big. After musing a little in his heart, Xiao Yang finally understood why. The gap between each star in the Do Zone class was much wider than the Do Huang class. When using the same secret technique, it was only natural that the technique would have difficulty obtaining the same effect as in the past. However, Feng Qing is actually able to raise her strength by over 2 stars. It seems the secret technique she has used is definitely quite high. It should be a little stronger than this incomplete Skyfire 3 mysterious change of mine. Xiao Yang muttered in his heart. It seemed that when he had the time, he would need to think of a way to complete the Skyfire 3 mysterious change. Otherwise, he would be left at a disadvantage if he were to fight with an expert who also possesses a secret technique. Since it has already come to this, it is only natural that I cannot delay things any longer. Determining the victor is most important. Xiao Yang looked at Feng Qing, who was flapping a pair of 7-colored wings in the sky. A moment later, his eyebrows were suddenly knit together. His gaze was somewhat uncertain as he stared at the phoenix wings on her back. For some unknown reason, he felt a kind of familiarity when looking at them. While Xiao Yang was feeling doubtful, Feng Qing's green-silver eyes suddenly became cold as she remained in the sky. Majestic Do Qi surged out of her body, transforming into an enormous phoenix icon behind her. This phoenix was completely black in color and gave one a kind of demonic feeling. The phoenix's eyes stared at Xiao Yang from a distance as an unusual pressure fell from the sky. Under this pressure, even the energy in the surroundings had become somewhat chaotic. Numerous shocked voices were being emitted from outside the arena. Feng Qing's pretty eyes did not contain the slightest emotion as they stared at Xiao Yang. A moment later, she gently raised her arm. Her finger pointed at Xiao Yang from some distance away. Her bone-chilling voice carried a kind of unusually strong, domineering aura. Holy demon phoenix icon, swallow the heaven and earth. When the cold cry sounded, the illusionary black phoenix behind Feng Qing'er appeared to have returned to life. It let out a sharp cry to the sky. Immediately, it flipped its enormous pair of wings, and 100-foot-tall blackness carried an extremely frightening strength, as it violently shot toward Xiao Yang like a meteorite. Xiao Yang's eyes stared intently at the unusually dark black light that covered this place. His brows moved and the bone-chilling flame swiftly surged out. When he was about to do something, he suddenly sensed a fluctuation from his storage ring. He became shocked. His mind moved, and he sensed the origin of the fluctuation within his storage ring. It was a jade bottle. Within the jade bottle was a few drops of green-red blood that contained a frightening energy. Xiao Yang was stunned as he looked at the droplets of green-red blood that he had refined from the mysterious corpse back then. He immediately seemed to have recalled something as his eyes shrank. His gaze looked at Feng Qing'er in the sky as a shocking thought spread from his heart. She is someone from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Are you threatening me? Feng Zunja suddenly smiled as he inquired. Some caution rose in Lei Zunja's heart as he looked at the smile on Feng Zunja's face. Feng Zunja had been famous for the longest time amount about the 4 great Dozuns present. Moreover, he was also the most experienced person. When Lei Zunja was still a Dozong, Feng Zunja already possessed a strong reputation in the Central Plains region. Although their statuses had become equal now, Lei Zunja still feared him. This cannot be considered a threat. Both you and I know in our hearts whether it is true or not. Feng Zunja glanced at Lei Zunja. Immediately, he looked at the arena and laughed in a faint voice. I will not do something like bullying someone younger as an elder. Moreover, no one knows just who will emerge victorious in this battle. Lei Zunja raised his eyebrows as the corner of his mouth was lifted into a cold smile. Do you really think that Xiao Yang will be a match for Qing'er? Qing'er, who has used her tribe's secret skill, is someone that even some of the powerful elders in the Wind Lightning Pavilion cannot beat, much less Xiao Yang, who has only broken through the Do Huang class a short while ago. Feng Zunja smiled as he replied in a non-committal manner, in that case, let's wait for the final result. Lei Zunja laughed out loud when he saw this. He said, since you have put it this way, let us see just who will have the last laugh in this exchange. While these two giants were conversing in the VIP seats, Xiao Yang in the arena felt extremely uneasy in his heart. After vaguely guessing Feng Qing'er's identity, he came to a sudden understanding. No wonder he had felt a familiar feeling when he saw her beautifully colorful phoenix wings. If the colorful feathers and flesh were removed, would those wings not be exactly the same as his bone wings? Damn it. Why is it that this woman is a member of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe? Xiao Yang involuntarily cursed in his heart as he sensed the green-red blood, the fluctuations within the jade bottle in his storage ring. It was unexpected that the blood he had refined would act in such an unexpected manner after meeting a member of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. This Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe was indeed strange. No wonder it could become one of the 3 top factions in the magical beast world. What kind of flame is this? It should not be a heavenly flame. Otherwise, the heavenly flame in my body would have sensed something. However, the strength of this flame is not weaker than a heavenly flame. Surprise danced through Xiao Yang's heart. The current him was extremely familiar with the heavenly flames on the heavenly flame ranking. However, one could not find a similar flame to it regardless of how one thought about it. The dark black light missed, but Feng Qing'er in the sky merely let out a cold laugh. Her delicate finger was lifted and the dark black light shot forth, like an enormous python, from the enormous pit. It emitted waves of deep sonic boom sounds that crackled over the entire sky. Xiao Yang knit his brows as he looked at the strange light that pounced over. He could sense that the interior of the dark light contained a frightening energy. If he were to be struck by it head-on, it was likely that he would end up seriously injured even with his current strength. A lightning glow flickered over Xiao Yang's feet as his body swiftly pulled back. Numerous after-images repeatedly appeared in the sky. Xiao Yang, there is no dodging the strength of the holy icon. It will follow you for a lifetime if it fails to take your life. Ridicule surfaced on Feng Qing'er's pretty face as she coldly laughed while watching Xiao Yang dodge. The enormous black phoenix icon was much paler compared to before. Clearly, this kind of frightening dark attack was not something that Feng Qing'er could use many times with her current strength. Xiao Yang appeared as though he did not hear Feng Qing'er's cold laugh. He activated the 3000 lightning movement to its limit. Numerous afterimages repeatedly appeared in the sky. However, such afterimages would be instantly shattered into nothingness by the strange light, closely following behind him. Xiao Yan swung the heavy ruler in his hand. A couple of enormous jade-green ruler glows violently struck the dark black light. However, it was completely useless. Even the speed of the dark light was not the least bit reduced. The solemnness in Xiao Yan's eyes became denser when he saw that the dark light was completely unaffected. This so-called holy icon strength was indeed a little unusual. Dodging in this manner is also not a solution. Using this kind of holy icon strength exhausted a great amount of Do Qi. Looking at Feng Qing'er's appearance, it seems that she is only able to use it once. However, she is currently speeding up her Do Qi recovery. If she is allowed to use another holy icon, it is likely that things will end up even more troublesome. This thought lingered in Xiao Yan's heart. Ordinary attacks were useless against this holy icon. If one wished to destroy it, one must use a strength that was even more terrifying than it. A cold glint flickered in Xiao Yan's dark black eyes. He clenched his left hand and a jade-green flame surged out of it. It was swiftly divided into a green flame and an invisible flame. His finger pressed on his brows and a dense white flame also appeared. 3 kinds of heavenly flames rose and withered in Xiao Yan's palm. Their frightening temperature caused the entire place to become unbelievably hot. Even the dark clouds in the distant sky started scattering because of them. Heavenly flame. 3 types. The faces of Lei Zunja, Feng Zunja, Jian Zunja, and Huang Quan Zunja in the VIP seats changed the moment the 3 types of heavenly flames appeared. A shock surfaced in their eyes. Although they had seen a heavenly flame before, they had never seen a person possessing 3 types of heavenly flame. The unusual dark light once again swept over. Xiao Yan did not even raise his head. A silver glow flickered and he appeared over 100 feet away. By the time the dark light rushed over again, his body had already flashed and withdrew a great distance away. During this swift dodging, the 3 colored fire clusters in his hands began to slowly fuse together. An exquisite 3-colored fire lotus slowly rose from the cluster of flames. The stadium appeared like the calm surface of a lake after a large rock had been thrown into it the moment the 3-colored fire lotus appeared. Numerous spatial ripples materialized. Even the energy of this place had suddenly more wild and violent. This scene really fit the description of the world descending into chaos when the fire lotus was born. The expressions of Lei Zunja and the others in the VIP seats drastically changed at this moment. They sensed a kind of dangerous aura from the 3-colored fire lotus. This fellow. How can he unleash such a powerful Do technique? Feng Zunja nodded his head. A smile that was difficult to hide appeared on his face. The eyesight of that stubborn fellow was really as sharp as it had always been. This young man possessed the qualifications to be his disciple. The fire lotus was successfully formed. This time around, Xiao Yan completely stabilized his body. He wiped off the cold sweat on his forehead, raised his head, and glanced at Feng Qing'er in the sky. He let out a long breath, exhaling the inferiority that he had experienced when fleeing earlier. Immediately, he raised his head and a loud laugh that carried a proud aura surged into the sky. Under the Buddha's anger, all ghosts and evil will cease to exist. From the sky, Feng Qing'er looked at the fire lotus that had transformed into a fire glow that rushed over. Her ice-cold expression had changed for the first time. She really sensed an annihilating aura from the fire lotus. Under such an aura, a storm involuntarily rose in her heart despite her status. At this moment, she had finally understood that she seemed to have underestimated this young man of similar age right from the start. She had always thought that Xiao Yan had relied on the help of external strength in order to perform his many shocking achievements. However, today, after the appearance of this frightening 3-colored fire lotus, the perception of Xiao Yan in her heart was raised regardless of how unwilling she was at letting that happen. Otherwise, the one who would eventually suffer was likely herself. Feng Qing'er's pretty eyes stared at the 3-colored fire lotus that cut through the air with its violent energy. A solemnness swiftly appeared on her pretty face. She waved her hand and the dark light, which had been sweeping through the air, flew back in a lightning-like manner. It once again entered the illusionary black phoenix behind her in front of the eyes of a countless number of people. Following the entrance of this strange, dark light, the enormous illusionary black phoenix suddenly became a lot more real. The frightening pressure that spread from it also swiftly became much more intense. Holy icon demon phoenix bell. Feng Qing'er's hand formed numerous dazzling seals with lightning-like speed, before her small mouth suddenly emitted a cold cry. One could see that the enormous illusionary black phoenix behind her seemed to have revived when the cry sounded. A sharp phoenix cry was emitted to the sky. Dark black light suddenly surged and wrapped around Feng Qing'er's body. After wrapping Feng Qing'er's body within it, the powerful dark light also wiggled a little. A moment later, it formed a large black bell that was over 100 feet large. This bell was extremely huge. It was pitch black in color, and crafted on the surface of the enormous bell was a flying black phoenix with its wings spread. An unusual black flame repeatedly curled and rose from its body. This enormous bell was a little strange. Clearly, it was agglomerated from energy, but it seemed even more real than something with substance. Even the dark light lingering on it was similar to an actual substance. The enormous, dark black bell, that had suddenly appeared, naturally stirred numerous exclamations from the entire stadium. This enormous bell gave one a kind of frightening aura of being indestructible when looking at it from a distance. One could just imagine how shocking the toughness of this thing was. It was likely that even the full-force attack, by some elite Do Zongs, would not be able to do anything to it. Demon Phoenix Bell. The eyes of the 4 great Do Zuns in the VIP seats coagulated as they stared at the enormous black bell. A solemnness appeared on their faces. Among the things that had the qualification to be considered powerful, the reputation of this thing was quite great. It is rumored that this Demon Phoenix Bell is a Do technique passed down in the Demon Phoenix tribe since ancient times. It was created by an ancestor of the Heaven Demon Phoenix, whose strength had reached the Do Xing class. Its defensive strength is incomparably frightening. Moreover, it could be used to unleash an extremely sharp sonic wave attack. It possesses both offensive and defensive capabilities, and it is extremely troublesome to deal with. It is the skill the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe specialize in. There are few in the same class who can break it. However, this girl has clearly only learned superficial parts of it. If those old fellows, who will not die, from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe were to use it, it is likely that everything within a 50-kilometer radius would be covered by this Demon Phoenix Bell. All life perishes the moment the bell chimes. Jian Zunja clicked his tongue. He sighed in admiration and explained the situation while he fondled. Countless numbers of people on Lightning Mountain were drenched in perspiration. Even Do Chi could not completely isolate this kind of temperature. Everyone was stunned as they stared at the endless 3-colored fire sea in the sky. In an instant, their hearts trembled. If this sea of fire were to shift a little lower, it was likely that this Lightning Mountain would be completely destroyed by it. The expressions of the 4 great Do Zuns in the VIP seats underwent various changes at this moment. They never expected Xiao Yan to unleash such a frightening Do technique. Such destructive strength was something that even an expert 6-star Do Zong had difficulty achieving. Now, however, it had appeared in the hands of a 1-star Do Zong. With their eyesight, they were naturally able to tell that Xiao Yan had completely relied on his own strength to use the attack. Thus, he had not relied on any external strength, yet it was precisely this reason that caused their hearts to shake even more. Fei Qian was also stunned as he stood beside Lei Zunja. His face appeared exceptionally comical against the background of the 3-colored heavenly flame in the sky. In the face of the eruption of this 3-colored fire lotus, even he genuinely felt a kind of dangerous aura that seeped into his bones. If he were to face this fire lotus attack, he might perhaps be able to survive by relying on his strength. However, the price that he had to pay would definitely be a hefty one. This person is really dangerous. Fei Qian inhaled a deep breath of air. His expression also gradually turned solemn. Xiao Yang's weight in his heart also swiftly climbed. Many gazes looked at the sea of fire in the sky with stunned expressions. An enormous bell stood firmly in the middle of the sea of fire. However, the dark black light on its surface had also formed numerous energy ripples, as it was around by the 3-colored fire wave. Lei Zunja involuntarily sighed when he saw that the enormous, dark black bell did not experience much changes after being struck by the 3-colored fire wave. As long as Feng Qing'er could endure this attack, this match would definitely end with her victory. Crack. However, just as Lei Zunja sighed in relief, a clear, soft sound suddenly broke through the quiet sky. This sound might be faint, but it did not escape Lei Zunja's ears. Immediately, he tightened his hand and slowly raised his head. His eyes locked onto the enormous, dark black bell, and were able to see numerous tiny cracks slowly spreading across it. Compared with the gloomy expression of Lei Zunja, a smile appeared on Feng Zunja's face. Xiao Yang's performance since the beginning had been extremely satisfactory. Originally, he had thought that it was fine as long as Xiao Yang did not lose too badly to Feng Qing'er. He had never thought of Xiao Yang would be able to defeat the other party. Although he knew that Xiao Yang had some outstanding points in order for Yao Lao to accept him as a disciple, he was also aware that Feng Qing'er was not someone ordinary. Being someone from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, her fighting strength far exceeded those at the same level as her. Jian Zunja and Huang Quan Zunja by the side were similarly startled. Clearly, Xiao Yang exceeded their expectations by breaking the Demon Phoenix bell. I wonder what the background of this fellow is. He actually knows such a powerful Do technique. Moreover, such talent is also quite frightening. The two of them revealed an expression of thoughtfulness. Regardless of how talented one was, in order for one to achieve this at such an age, one would require a teacher who had similarly great abilities. Moreover, there were not many old fellows who could teach such a disciple even in the Central Plains, yet it seemed that none of them had a disciple called Xiao Yang. On the edge of the arena, Mu Qingwan, Tang Ying, and the pale-faced Wang Chen were somewhat shocked as they watched the endless sea of fire in the sky, especially Wang Chen. He had basically felt his limbs become numb. If Xiao Yang had used such a frightening Do technique when exchanging blows with him earlier, it was likely that he would not even have the opportunity to escape alive. Even Feng Qing'er's Demon Phoenix Bell is unable to block that fire lotus. This Xiao Yang is really too terrifying. Tang Ying involuntarily inhaled a deep breath. He slowly spoke as his gaze stared intently at the sky. His voice had a little bitterness to it. By being able to become the most outstanding person among the younger generation in the 10,000 Sword Pavilion, Tang Ying's heart naturally held some pride, yet this pride appeared just like a joke in front of Xiao Yang and Feng Qing'er. The fighting strength that the two had displayed had far exceeded him. Mu Qingluan by the side also nodded while sharing the same feeling. Although they had heard of Xiao Yang's name because of his conflict with the Wind Lightning Pavilion, they did not pay much attention to him, perhaps because they were the most outstanding members of the younger generation within the 4 pavilions. However, this big battle today had caused all of them to submit. Such strength was indeed not something that they could compare with. Wang Chen grit his teeth when he heard the size in the words of those two. Although he was unwilling to accept it, that unwillingness could only be suppressed in his heart in the face of the sea of fire that permeated the sky. An enormous, dark black bell stood in the 3-colored sea of fire that permeated the sky. Each time the fire wave surged over, it would cause the dark light on the surface of the enormous bell to tremble. The tiny crack lines on it would also spread even faster. Xiao Yang's black eyes stared intently at the location where the enormous bell had exploded. Some dark black fragments had whistled past his body while carrying a sharp wind. However, they did not cause him to be the least bit distracted. A dense, black smoke surged from the fragments of the enormous bell. Xiao Yang's eyes were focused on them. After staring at the black smoke without blinking for a moment, Xiao Yang noticed that the black smoke suddenly shrank. Immediately, a figure rushed out from within in a lightning-like manner. A chill surged in Xiao Yang's eyes the moment this figure appeared. A silver glow flickered under his feet as his body moved. A couple of after-images appeared, and his body caught up with that figure in a ghost-like manner. A jade-green flame swiftly surged out of his fist. When Xiao Yang appeared behind that figure, a colorful cloth that contained a sharp wind suddenly shot at the middle of Xiao Yang's forehead. A cold smile was revealed on Xiao Yang's face. He grabbed the colorful cloth and used it to help him charge forward. Immediately, he violently struck the soft figure like a cannonball. Groan. The strong force from this collision caused the figure to emit a moan. The lovely figure also landed roughly on the ground, smashing heavily against the surface of the arena. That powerful force caused numerous cracks to spread on the ground. Numerous exclamations sounded from around the stadium once they saw Feng Qing'er, who was injured on the ground. Xiao Yang seemed to have not heard all of this noise. His fist tightened under his sleeves without anyone noticing. Immediately, he let out a cold laugh. His body moved, descending in front of many shocked eyes. After which, he landed beside Feng Qing'er, raised his foot, and viciously stomped toward her head. From the looks of his stance, Feng Qing'er's head would likely burst apart like a watermelon if his foot were to accurately strike her. This sudden vicious act by Xiao Yang caused all the eyes present to become dull. Forget about just how one would meet with an endless amount of trouble by killing Feng Qing'er given her background. Just the very fact that the other party was a great beauty would make a vicious person hesitate a little when delivering such a ruthless strike, wouldn't it? Yet, at this moment, Xiao Yang, the viciousness of his descending foot and his crisp manner looked as though he was stepping on an ant. There was not the least bit of hesitation. His decisiveness caused one to feel stunned. Xiao Yang's falling foot was extremely quick. He did not give anyone the chance to intervene. An instant later, it was viciously stomped on Feng Qing's head without any unexpected changes. The entire stadium was silent at this instant. The expected fresh blood splashing in all directions did not occur when the foot stomped on Feng Qing's head. Her head burst apart like a balloon while her body gradually turned into nothing. Many people present were at a loss when they witnessed this scene. Their eyes descended into a dull state. They were uncertain what had just happened. Xiao Yang's face did not reveal the slightest surprise when he failed to see any fresh blood. His eyes were slightly shut as his feet gently strode forward. In a flash, he appeared at a certain location in the air. The corner of his mouth was lifted into a cold smile as his fist violently smashed toward the empty space in front of him. Xiao Yang raised his eyes and smiled to the pale, pretty face of Feng Qing. There was a little chillness in his smile. Feng Qing clenched her silver teeth. Her pretty eyes were furiously looking at the smiling Xiao Yang. Today was the first time that she had been defeated in such a humiliating fashion in all these years. Humiliation rose within her heart like a tide. A moment later, a viciousness flashed across Feng Qing's pretty eyes. She maneuvered the little remaining dou qi within her body. However, before she could unleash an attack, a thunderous roar suddenly resounded. Immediately, a figure appeared in front of her in a ghost-like fashion. An ice-cold hand gently grabbed her long neck like an eagle claw, while a soft voice that contained a killing intent slowly sounded. The voice caused Feng Qing's lovely body to suddenly stiffen. "You have lost." The entire Lightning Mountain became silent at this moment. Had the result of this much-anticipated top-level fight between the younger generation finally been determined? This final result had exceeded the expectations of most people. Feng Qing's reputation and strength was something that everyone was aware of, yet this talented lady of the Wind Lightning Pavilion, who only appeared once every century, was defeated in the hands of this young man called Xiao Yang. Quite a number of people also revealed somewhat gloomy faces within this quiet stadium. Lei Zunja's face was as deep as water. He had similarly not expected Feng Qing to be defeated by Xiao Yang's hands. Not only was he unable to make things difficult for Xiao Yang Toda, but he had also allowed Xiao Yang to borrow Feng Qing's reputation to immediately become famous. He really felt like he had suffered double the loss despite intending to take advantage of Xiao Yang. The location where the Wind Lightning Pavilion was located was completely silent. Fei Qian and the others looked at each other. Although their faces were ugly, they did not open their mouths to say anything. The strength that Xiao Yang had displayed had caused even them to withdraw the estimations they had made at him in the past. Compared to the gloomy-faced Lei Zunja, Feng Zunja's face was full of smiles. Xiao Yang's performance today had truly subdued his high expectations. That stubborn old fellow's eyes are still as sharp as ever. I wonder just where he obtained such an outstanding disciple. Feng Zunja smiled and softly sighed in his heart. In the arena, where everyone's eyes were focused, Feng Qing's lovely body had become much stiffer because of the cold hand around her neck. The little bit of genuine killing intent contained in Xiao Yang's voice caused her to not doubt that the person in front of her would viciously destroy a flower if it really came to that point. However, the faint fear had just risen within her heart when it was replaced by fury and humiliation. With her status and strength, when had she been treated in such a manner? Feng Qing clenched her teeth tightly as her pretty eyes stared at Xiao Yang angrily, appearing just like a haughty phoenix. A strange, black flame slowly seeped out of her body. A chill flashed across Xiao Yang's eyes when he saw Feng Qing was still being stubborn. The glazed lotus heart flame suddenly surged out from his hand as he cried out in a low voice, "Get lost." This video will end here. Thank you for watching.